Hey ladies and gentlemen, Joe here, the man who knows Troy McClure from all his wonderful films. I'm actually a big fan of Planet of the Apes, the musical. Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius. Really hard to keep a straight face with that joke, but I'm here to talk about another fight night. This one actually had a main event, though, that I was interested in, You don't normally see this too often, but because we had Caio Borralho versus Jared Cannonier. So, enough talk. Let's just get to the fights. As I said before, main event, middleweight fight. It's kind of an interesting fight in the future of the middleweight division. The bad divisions used to just be like heavyweight and light heavyweight, right? I think you can put middleweight there. Middleweight has Dricus du Plessis, who is somehow, nothing against the champion. I'm not critiquing his quality of a fighter, but from a technical standpoint, painful to watch. You have Izzy, who got a title fight off of a loss, which kind of happens with stars. I'm against that almost always, personally, but whatever, they did it anyways. They don't listen to me. You have Robert Whittaker, who's still the man, who's still awesome. Hamzat, if he ever fights, I don't think he's fighting this year. I think he's going to pull out of that Robert Whittaker fight because he's just known for it. And then when his last time he showed up, he just looked awful. He broke his hand in the first round, he said. Come on. Very unprofessional guy, too, so I can understand not liking him as a fan. I think a lot of hype has washed off of him because of his inconsistencies, his hypocrisy, and him just being a natural douche. But after Sean Strickland, who complained his way into a title fight, Paulo Costa looks like a shell of his former self. Jack Hermansson's still kind of going. Chris Curtis is fun, but he's not going to make a push towards a title. We're really kind of running out of guys here. I was really excited for Paul Craig to enter the division. I was hoping that with his size from 205, he would kind of make up for the lack of wrestling skills and striking skills and just kind of bully guys down and get to work with his superb jiu-jitsu. And, speak of the devil, the guy that ended, or that last fought Paul Craig. Oh, yeah, Brendan Allen, actually, who ended the hype, my hype train. Brendan Allen's looking pretty good, actually. But another guy is Caio Borralho. And Caio Borralho, I remember seeing him when I first started doing the recaps for the channel, for the INC here. And he always kind of struck me as a guy who was willing to fight smart without any regard for the fans at home watching, because he just wants to get a win. There's nothing wrong with not factoring in entertainment with your game plan. I'm usually the guy to be like, oh, that's super boring. This guy's super boring and I don't like him. That's my opinion, though. I don't think you're there's very few people, I think, in this sport who are objectively should have zero fans. John Jones should have zero fans. Dana White should have zero fans. There's a couple of names in this sport that very few, but there's maybe 2 or 3 I can think of that should have zero fans. I'm not a fan of Sean O'Malley, and I don't understand being a fan of his. I'm not a fan at all of Valentina Shevchenko, and as you guys know, I'm known for making jokes about her, but I'm actually always trying to be very cool with our fans who are also Valentina fans. I'm always trying to be professional, and I after cracking a joke, I always go, "You guys know I'm joking, right? It's all love between us, I got no problem with that, but and entertainment isn't long rant. I'm very tired. I apologize, but entertainment shouldn't factor into that. Just because I don't like a fighter doesn't mean anything wrong. If I saw them, 10,000% respect, and not just because they could kill me. That's just human decency. But man, lately, he's been a lot of fun. I think his last fight was fun, and I thought this fight was really good, because he's fighting Jared Cannonier, who's still pretty good, right? But you have to wonder, at his age, is he making a title run ever again? Or is he just gonna be a pretty solid gatekeeper at this level, at this like top 5 level. And I think he's been doing a pretty good job of that personally already. And I think that's a natural spot for him. So, Caio Borralho, or I always want to call him Chow, because there was a guy named Chow Magnalesh back in the day. And it was spelled the same way, I think, but it's Cow. It's Caio Borralho. And Borralho, man, he has good grappling and okay striking. Kind of got some tall guy defense. It's kind of a quirk that the fighting nerds, his camp, it's his inner circle at his camp. Him and Carlo Paredes, who knocked out the Leech last week, showed off or are part of, and he's been showing off his power and his shots lately, and I think it's like the full metamorphosis of his transformation into that like meme pic of Paulo Costa with like the glasses and like the Steve Jobs turtleneck, because he looks like educated Paulo Costa. If Paulo Costa went to college instead of hitting a tanning bed and going to Muscle Beach, Caio Borralho would look like him. Funny too, because Caio Borralho was covered in tats, but he used to be a teacher, so and he wears glasses, and he owns up to being a nerd, and I think that's super sick. As a nerd myself, I applaud legitimate nerd culture. Not like, I don't really applaud like what's that show, Big Bang Theory, but I applaud like legitimate nerd stuff. You can see by the Dark Souls I have there. Big time nerd myself. But this fight, let's get to the fight itself, not just me talking about how much I love nerd stuff. This fight itself was actually pretty good. Back and forth, both guys putting the heat on each other. Borralho nearly got finished first. He got stung, got a little bit of wobble there going. His Cannonier has some power, but he recovered, dug deep, and he nearly finished. Like in the very next round, nearly finished Cannonier. I actually thought he was going to. Big shots from both guys, and I actually had it even going into the 5th round, and I think Borralho dug deeper to sneak this win, and this dude has just looked better and better and better each fight, because I think I saw him on boring random fight cards, like on the Fight Night prelims, maybe opening up the main card, and he was never like impressive. He was winning, and that's what I remembered him for, because he was winning, but he never really impressed me, except like over time I could tell he was just getting better. I was like, oh, at least he's improving, at least he's improving, and he just kept going, and then here we are, kind of thing. And that's a good success story out of this lame Apex era. He's a good success story. I'm thumbs up for him, man. He beat number 5 Cannonier. He wants a top 5 ranking. I think that makes sense. At least 5, or at minimum 5, or wait, no, at maximum 5, I should say. Tired brain. Sorry. I think at least top 7 makes sense. Top 7 to 5, 5, 6, 7 makes about sense for me. And I think there's a couple of fun fights. If you want to strap the rocket to this guy, you can give him Izzy, I think. Because if Izzy wants to stay at 185, no one really knows what he's going to do. He might take off a year. Again, you never know. Like, you legitimately just never know. Losing is tough in a guy who's been fighting forever and winning forever across multiple sports. It probably got to mess with you, right? And I'm always okay with taking time off to like mentally deal with it, because there's some fighters out there who, when they lost, when they were winning, the idea of losing just was never there, and it really kind of hurt their improvement. And so when they did lose, the fall was even harder. The first part is very common. The second part doesn't happen often, but when you do, it's like a really big cautionary tale. I won't say any names, because it's for me, it's all like speculation. There's no like, I don't have concrete evidence or anything, but you guys probably have a couple of names you can think about as well. I think another fight that'd be kind of fun if they want to take another big step, but not like overly big, maybe around the same level, actually. You got like Marvin Vettori. You got, there's another one here. Technically, Marvin Vettori, last fight I remember was he lost to Cannonier. But Brendan Allen makes sense to me. Paulo Costa sounds fun. I think that's a fun fight. If we aren't afraid, this is a big thing. If we aren't afraid that like our reality works on like time cop rules, if we think it works on time cop rules and they touch and like they just cause an explosion, like they warp in their reality ceases to exist, then we're fine. But I also wonder if it's like other rules where if they touch, all reality just collapses. If we're afraid to even risk it, I understand not making that match. But for the rest of the card, Tabitha Ritchie in the co-main event. She got a close win over big-time gal favorite Angela Hill. Super close fight. Admittingly, was a little distracted watching this one. I'm kind of curious what my scorecard would have been if I would have watched it more closely, because my scorecard is not reliable. So I admittingly don't have a very good one because I admit I was in and out. Ryan Loder, he did win TUF after getting a big TKO win with ground and pound in the second round against Robert Valentin. Myron Santos also won TUF this and the second round with the finish, just like Ryan Loder. But this time, it was a big left hook, put Conoffley down for the count. I didn't watch TUF. I hope I'm saying their names right. I didn't watch TUF this year. I should have. You would think I would with like Alexa Grasso being there. But I haven't watched TUF in a long time. I apologize. Michael Morales, I always get mixed up because it was a high school buddy of mine, had the same name, Michael Morales to a T. But Michael Morales, he continues an unbeaten streak in his career and in the UFC, of course, with a TKO of Neal Magny. I think beating Neal Magny is a rite of passage for any prospect at welterweight. That's why Mike Malott, not a prospect anymore. He lost. Gassed out and lost. Gerald Mearshart got a great comeback finish win over Edmund Shabazian with an arm triangle choke. He was getting kicked up and down this whole fight. First round, most of the second round, and he gets the takedown, locks it in, it's over. Francis Marshall beat Denis Bazukja by split decision. Zach Reese beat Jose Medina by unanimous decision. Vyacheslav Borshev, I remember when that guy was like all the rage. Him and GDM, I think at the same time people were talking about. He beat James Yontop. I want to say Yontop, but that's the Spanish in me. By split decision. Jacqueline Cavalcante beat Josen Nunes, I believe. My Portuguese is bad. By split decision. And finally, Wang Kong beat Victoria Leonardo with a one-punch bomb in 62 seconds to open up the card. I guess when you dress up as the Joker, you kind of have to have that kind of anarchy type of power. But that's it for me. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it's my tired brain because I'm trying to not use melatonin. It's my first couple days off, and like sleep has been a little awkward for me. But I feel like this was a slow week on news. I know like Mayweather and Gotti fought last night, but I don't think anyone cares about. I'm assuming. I think it's legitimately John Gotti's grandson, and I don't really know their fighting background. The only thing I know with John Gotti is he bought this ice cream truck, like I think early '90s, late '80s. He bought this ice cream truck at an auction, and he had his friend Tony in the car, and he just cranked that horn. He cranked that horn all the way back just to mess with Tony because he outbid him. That's the only thing I remember. If anyone knows that reference, I will legitimately high five you. I'm sure Carl gets it because Carl's a man of distinguished taste like me. Best show of all time. Come on, I hope someone gets that. I didn't care about that. I think AEW's tonight, which I'll probably watch. You know, I'm a wrestling fan. Me and Carl are both wrestling fans. I'll probably watch it. Haven't been watching a lot of wrestling lately, admittingly. But I think that's it. In terms of news, I don't really have much here. My notes didn't have much, so I don't have much. Of course, if you want to support us more, because me and Carl we actually came up with another really, really cool idea for Patreon exclusive content. And Patreon is the best way to support us right now because YouTube kind of hates us right now. We got a letter in the mail. It was really awkward. It was like a Blue's Clues type letter, and it said, Dear Mr. Carl and Joe, you guys are much too handsome for YouTube. You know, we have to demonetize your videos. You guys are too handsome, even fully clothed. We feel like it's explicit because you guys are just too beautiful. While I agree, you know, I mean, I think that's a little harsh, personally. So, because YouTube hates us, Patreon is the best way to support us. With Patreon, you get exclusive content, early content YouTube hated, and as like a bonus, this, you know, just a little gift as a thank you for signing up. You get to request any card I can get my hands on. As long as I can get my hands on it, I'll do it. Even if it's something I hate, but I'll do it. Is get a retro review for me, personally. And we'll post it on the channel. You've seen me do tons of Patreon requests on the channel, and it's sick. It's awesome. It's so much fun. It's always fun, too, like, you know, if, like, hearing the whys and whatnot, and, like, creating a discourse with it in the comments, like, it's always so cool. So shout out to everybody who's done that, because it's sick and awesome. And if you want one, too, definitely help us out on the Patreon. Go support us. It's the best way to do it. I'm Joe with the INC. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.